I've pretty much all but given up on trying to contain Stu in the current dry lot. No matter what I do as a
Boys.
solution, he keeps finding ways to whittle himself out. My main priority at this point in time is cleaning up the area around the old homestead so I can lay some footing down and put in another little dry lot for Stu so he stops escaping. Fortunately, the pasture seems to be relatively clear of old wire and nails and things, so Stewie is pretty safe exploring on his own.
Come on, Stu.
I do have a perimeter fence around the whole property,
Hey,
so he's
girls.
not going to get loose.
Hey, girls. Where'd he go? Stu! Stewie! Come on, Stu! Stewie! Come on, Stu! Come on, Stewie!
One positive thing that has come out of Stewie escaping all the time is he is getting really good at coming when he's called.
Come on, Stu! Crazy boy.
Just to make sure there's no funny business, I also give him a little snack. I did have someone ask what I'm doing to reprimand Stewie, and I don't think it's beneficial to reprimand him for using his brain to do cool things, even if they do present a little bit of an inconvenience for me. I have been on the hunt for some crusher finds to put in the paddocks, and it looks like I'm going to be getting them either tomorrow or the next day. I'm still dragging the area around the old homestead pretty often, and the things that I'm getting are becoming less and less. A lot of the grass from when I seeded last week has started to sprout up pretty nicely. I also noticed that the succulent is getting starved out by the grass, so those of you guys who are worried about the horses eating it, I don't think it'll be around much long after the grass is established. Some places, of course, are not as good as others, but I did a very rough seeding of this area just to get it started. We are not supposed to get rain for quite a while, so I'm glad to see that there is some growth and it should be big and strong enough to survive winter. We did have our first hard frost the other day, but it doesn't seem to have affected the grass at all. Last night we did have a crazy windstorm though, so I'm gonna have to go over and check on the temporary shelter that I have set up. Because we aren't supposed to be getting any crazy weather anytime soon, I am going to set up the other big shelters later on. I'm getting way too paranoid about having a flat tire from all the nails around here, so the sooner I get this taken care of and covered up with some kind of footing, the better. The thought had crossed my mind to put Stewie in with Nigel in a bigger pen. These two used to spend time together in the past. I'm thinking it might be really nice to have Nigel get a little pen underneath the trees. He'll get shade and be protected from all of the windstorms that we're going to get this winter. He seems perfectly happy where he is now, but I think a more permanent solution would suit him better. The windstorm we had last night was crazy. I am so surprised that the temporary shelter is still standing.
Nigel. Good little buddy.
Another thing that was on my list, but I haven't been able to complete it, is getting Tiny's little shed fixed up. I've been waiting for it to be completely dry, and the floor is just taking a little bit longer than I had expected. For now, Tiny seems pretty content in the house. She's been venturing more and more out of the basement, so she is feeling a bit more comfortable. I've got a few things in here to do before it's ready for her, and I'm trying to decide what kind of flooring I want to put in and if I'm going to insulate the walls. This side, I am still planning on putting a horse feed room in, so hopefully she'll feel at home. I've been dragging this side of the old homestead building a lot just to make sure everything's gone from this area. The first few days I was dragging, I was picking up a lot of metal and things, but it has slowed down quite a bit. This area off the back side of the old homestead, I am planning on putting a little pen up for Stewie. It should be plenty big enough for him and a friend, and it should be really nice back here with the addition of a shelter. One thing that I will have to fix are the few little prairie dog holes that are back here. There looks to be a little prairie dog town in this area. It's not very big. It's maybe a dozen holes or so in a very small area. I'm just gonna continue covering up the ones that are in the dry lot, and hopefully they'll get the hint and stop using these holes. Even though I've been finding less and less metal, there still is a bunch of glass out here. So the best bet at this time is to just cover everything up with a few inches of crusher fine so the horses can hopefully prevent any unnecessary trips to the vet. I haven't been able to find a place to get sand yet, but I bet once I start getting different types of footing, I'll get some inside information on what pit is close to my house that I can get some sand for an arena, or at the very least a round pen to get me through the winter. Every once in a while I am still finding a giant piece of metal like this. I found a bunch of horseshoes yesterday, which is pretty fitting because the original homesteader was a blacksmith. The magnets have been doing a pretty good job at pulling up all the odds and ends. Recently, it's just been holding on to a lot of old iron in the soil, so nothing too big. Today, I'm just gonna drag it maybe for half an hour and see what I come up with. One of the magnets did unfortunately lose a few pieces, so it's not as effective as it originally was. I'm sure I'll find the missing pieces eventually because I've been dragging a rather small area. Every day I empty my little bucket just so I can keep track of exactly how much stuff is coming up every day. After about a half an hour out here dragging, there really isn't too much. It looks like I'm going to be right on track to fill this area up with some footing when I get it. In addition to getting some footing delivered, I'm also going to be getting the new tractor delivered soon. I'm pretty excited about it, and it feels like everything is finally starting to come together and look a bit more like I had imagined around here. One of my next tasks to clear out the area around the old homestead building is to get rid of some of the old brush that's laying around. I'm hoping that all of the wood chips that I'm going to get for free around here are going to be the perfect addition to my compost pile. The weather is perfect out today, and the horses seem to be really enjoying it. After troubleshooting a few things with the wood chipper, I finally got it running. This machine should handle most of the brush we have laying around, and it'll help me keep everything spick and span. Since the last two properties that I've managed haven't had very much for trees, I've never really had to use a wood chipper. I need to let it run for 5 to 10 minutes, which should be the perfect amount of time for me to go feed the horses. The sun is going down pretty quick today, but I think I still might have time to get a few loads chipped up. I'm not sure how the horses are going to feel about it, but they're used to being around similar machines, so I don't think it'll be too hard on them. When I was leaving to go get some hay, I thought I spied a bald eagle, which will be the first one I've seen since we moved here. I definitely spied a white tail and a white head, and I'm wondering if this one is just kind of moving through because I feel like I would have seen him already. I've seen a few hawks already. I have also seen what I think is some kind of big owl. I haven't gotten a good look at him, but I know the general area that he hangs out, so I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for him. Even with Stewie's constant pestering, the horses seem to be in really good spirits. I feel like I do need to take care of the footing situation around the old homestead building before I can get to working any of these guys. I will feel a lot better when the risk of them stepping on a rusty nail is greatly reduced. Most of these horses do not mind just standing around and getting their meals brought to them. It has been getting a little bit darker earlier, and I've noticed the horses are starting to get their winter hair. It's been getting a little bit chilly overnight, but nothing like it would be if we were still back in Montana. It's much nicer for the horses, and it's also much nicer for me because I can work a little bit later into the evening and not freeze my butt off. I don't want to get too carried away tonight. I definitely don't think I'm going to get through this whole giant pile of sticks. This machine has a break-in period, so I've let it run for about 10 to 15 minutes already, and you're supposed to put little tiny sticks in it first. I guess the top is for branches and leaves and things. I think that stick may have been too big. There is another little hole where you stick the bigger stick, so I think I'll probably start using that one. There are tons of warnings on this machine about getting your fingers and arms amputated, so I'm going to be very careful when I put these sticks in. A few of the horses seem a little bit surprised by all the noise, but really they don't seem to mind too much. I'm hoping to get these sticks chipped up and run the machine for about an hour, so the initial break-in period. I have a feeling that this is going to be a task that is going to take a lot longer than I had initially anticipated. It was a little bit tricky finding sticks small enough to use for the break-in period. I could potentially just burn all of these piles of sticks that are around, but it would benefit me more if I could turn it into compost by mixing it with the manure. I can already tell that some of these sticks are going to go in this machine a bit easier than others, so that's something I'll keep in mind when I'm timing myself how long this takes. I don't think I broke in the engine enough before I tried a bigger stick. It also looks like I jammed it in there too much, and I'm gonna have to get it out some way. I'm really hoping not to have to take apart the whole entire machine, but I definitely don't want to stick my arm in here. I managed to use my big giant human brain to figure out a way to pull the stick that was stuck in out. For now, it looks like I'm just gonna have to stick to small sticks until the engine gets broken in a bit more. I'm really happy with the size these chips are coming out. These should be perfect to mix in with the manure to make the pasture a little bit more lush eventually. This machine did come with a little bag, so it should be pretty easy for me to dump all of the chips into the back of the Ranger and then put them in with wherever I decide to make the manure pile. It was pretty slow going because I did have to be pretty particular about the size sticks that I put in this machine. Really, until I get the tractor delivered and the footing, there aren't too many other chores around this area that I can do. So cleaning up the sticks and the leaves that are still around is the perfect activity for me to keep my mind off all of the things that are going to be happening over the next couple of days. I'm really excited to finally have a tractor. It should help me get a lot more done.
Stewie.
The next morning, Stewie, of course, was out of his pen, but he came as soon as he was called for breakfast.
Come on. Come on, Stu. Eat your food. Go on.
This morning, I am getting some crusher finds delivered, so I thought I'd take you guys over to a place of the property that you have not seen before. This is one of the reasons I really like this place when I first saw it. It has the most perfect little pasture for Frisco Bill. It has an excellent view, but right now it is filled up with a lot of old sticks and tree trimmings. While I'm getting the material delivered today, I'm going to try and tackle a little bit of this pile, and hopefully it will be ready sooner for Frisco or whatever horses I decide to put out here. After struggling for a little while to get the machine ready, it looks like I'm ready to rock and roll. This pile seems to be filled with a lot of those bushes that do have the really long spines on them, so it was a little bit more difficult for me to do this pile than the one yesterday. I'm not sure if there's a designated time every year for burning brush. Typically, in a lot of places there is. I would imagine that it is probably sometime over winter when there's a lot of snow on the ground, just so the threat of starting any kind of fires is way down. This stuff is chipping up pretty nice, so I think I'm going to continue this until the pile is a bit smaller. Since you guys have never been around here, I am going to show you a little bit of what it's like. The tractor should be coming soon, so I'm not sure how far we're going to get today. I'm so excited to have all of this material to lay down for the horses. I know Ziggy is going to love it. The new tractor is also here, which I am so excited to have. I was able to justify buying such a nice machine because you guys are always so interested in what I'm doing with the horses. I already feel like I've done a bunch of stuff around here, but it should look a lot better when I get this footing laid down. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.